Welcome to this course. We'll embark in a long journey, so I'll try to be as short as possible by presenting to use Snowflake areas. We'll have a lot of SQL and data analytics. Basically, we'll start and we'll end with a lot of queries, select queries, complex queries including window functions, CTEs, grouping sets, and so on. You'll have a chapter totally dedicated to Snowflake scripting. So you'll learn a language which is very similar, let's say, to PLSQL in Oracle or to Transact SQL for Microsoft SQL Server. Snowflake called it Snowflake scripting, and this is the procedural language using SQL, which is executed directly in their SQL engines. I have a chapter where I will address the SQL REST API, which is a very low-level API, but it's actually used by any other product. The CLI, SnowSQL, is built with a Python API actually, but Python is using SQL REST API. The web UI itself also is using SQL REST API when executing queries and so on. There will be a chapter on JSON semi-structured data, and I can tell you I love creating this bridge between semi-structured data and tabular data, and Snowflake is very, very powerful with JSON object and JSON array functions that they provide. We'll talk about store procedures, and you'll have templates for any possible language. The same for user-defined functions, and in particular, some of my favorites, the user-defined table functions, returning not a scalar value, but a record set, a result set instead. I'll show you how to install and how to use utilities on the client side, such as SnowSQL, that's Snowflake's CLI, command line interface, and SnowCD. We'll have a deep dive into all sorts of client drivers, but we'll focus more on Python. Make no mistake, I'll provide you also code snippets for .NET, for JavaScript, for Java, for Scala, and so on. Don't worry one bit, I'll try to keep it very simple, and this will be just as a reference for you. We'll have a deep dive into Snowpark API and data frames. That's an area that has been heavily advertised at Snowflake by dozens of Snowflake employees. I wrote a post at some point with the Snowpark object model. They loved this, and it is included in this course. We'll have a deep dive into Streamlit web applications. You'll learn Streamlit. I have more than one chapter dedicated to Streamlit. In one chapter, you'll learn about this particular minimalistic framework that will help you to realize so much. We'll talk about Streamlit in Snowflake applications. That's something very interesting. You can deploy a whole application in Python today that will execute totally and automatically in a Snowflake account. Some other particular area which is very interesting is about the native app framework. What's happening? We'll talk about sharing data between different accounts in Snowflake, but here you can share whole applications. Yes, we'll talk about data pipelines and all sorts of other applications. We'll have a Snowpipe automation, and we'll have a Snowpipe REST API, which can be accessed only from code. And I'll give you code snippets that you'll not find elsewhere.